Hey everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of Q&A with Mama's Uncut, where we answer your anonymous questions about parenting, motherhood, and relationships. Again, we got Lisa and Mindy. You guys ready to give some advice?
As
Sure.
always.
All right, let's get to it. We have a 5-month-old daughter with very bad reflux and needs feeding every 3 hours to make sure she's gaining weight, etc. My partner is all for regimented routines, and while I agree that routines are important, she doesn't realize the morning routine is affecting everyone else around her, including my 2 other children from my previous marriage. My little one tends to wake up for feeding around 6 a.m. However, just lately, she's been sleeping until 7 a.m. I do that feeding, but it's the next feeding time that I'm questioning. So the next feeding time happens around 10 a.m., but my partner says it has to be done upstairs as that is the routine. I am not allowed to take her downstairs beforehand. My 2 other kids want to play with her too. So once the second feeding is done and settled, it's not far off from lunchtime before she's even made it out of her bedroom. If I try and mention it to my partner, she kicks off and is in a foul mood with me all day. Any help would be very grateful.
Wow. First time parent right there.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. I think the one of them's obviously had children before and gets it. The other probably needs a little bit of a wake up call because the baby is not going to stick to said routine for very long. It's not going to work out. You just have to have a talk with them and be like, that babies aren't machines. They have needs, they have social needs, they have physical needs. We need to not, I get having a structure because I like to have a somewhat of a structure with my kids, but it doesn't always work. And that's part of parenting is you have to be willing to say, hey, I'm going to be flexible when I need to be flexible. And I don't know what the area has to do with a routine though. And there could be a little bit of anxiety tied to this too, right? I know first time parents often get a lot of anxiety about how things are done and how they're doing things. So maybe that's another conversation to be had too.
Totally agree with you. James, first time parent, and like at the end of the day, you can only do so much on the routine, right? Kids are inherently unpredictable creatures, and there's just, working overly hard to keep to a schedule oftentimes creates more havoc for like everybody else than it does benefit the child on the schedule. I think sleep for us, at least when we were raising kids, was a big element, right? Like some people were adamant we have to be home by 8 o'clock to put the kids to bed. We were just like, whatever. If we were at a relative's house, hey, go sleep on the couch, right? Like they're perfectly capable of crashing in their cousin's bed or sleeping on the couch or staying up, and we'll deal with it tomorrow, right? Like there's just sometimes you just gotta you can't let the kids drive the bus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a parent and I totally get the feedings being on schedule because they say that's, best for a child. But I would almost argue like being able to get them to feed in a different environment, being able to get them to sleep in a different environment, making so that they're easily adaptable is probably better than making sure that every time their routine is done in the same exact environment so that when they get older, and you have to take them somewhere and you're at that 10 a.m. feeding and now all of a sudden they don't want to do anything, they don't want to eat, they don't want to sleep because they're not doing what they were told to do for so long. So yeah, like you guys said, it's first time parenting, but hopefully eventually she gets to the point where she's like, okay, I get it. The feeding needs to stay at the same time, but where the feeding is done it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you're totally right, Sarah. If they get too much into a habit of doing something, then it gets hard when you have to take them somewhere else to do it.
All right, guys, don't forget to send in your anonymous questions. Thanks.